The future. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know how the days will unfold, but we always try and guess nonetheless, whether it be a wager on a boxing match or a psychic predicting that love is in your future. But no matter what, we don't really expect any of the outlandish predictions to come true, especially in video games. However, there is the rare time that causes us to question what we really know about our world, and those instances are what we are exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host Connor Monroe, and I really want someone to recreate Spider-Man PS4 in VR. The normal VR games are alright, okay, but I need more. If you're new here or have been here before and haven't yet, why don't you hit subscribe? We release daily gaming content, we have gameplay every Tuesday, and we cover a load of different topics. It's not just FNAF anymore, but we usually work it in if it fits. Like in today's list of the top 10 scary times games predicted the future. Let's do it. In at 10, Madden. Madden is EA's most popular sports game, and for good reason. Each year they run a simulation of the Super Bowl in an effort to guess who will come out on top and what the score will be. While they may not always get them right, the game comes pretty close, getting 11 out of the past 17 Super Bowl outcomes correct. They've also gotten the point difference right 4 different times. For example, the 2004 Super Bowl had the New England Patriots win against the Carolina Panthers 32-29, which is 3 points apart, and the game predicted the New England Patriots would win 23-20, which is also 3 points apart. And while that may not be impressive because it's just the point difference, what about Super Bowl 49? Oh yeah, if you haven't heard of this prediction, get ready to be shocked. For Super Bowl 49, the game was New England Patriots once again against the Seattle Seahawks, with a score of 28-24. Madden had predicted that exact thing only before the game had taken place. Of course, they did it before the game took place, that's why it's a prediction. That's insane. Like, sure, it may not be the scariest of the bunch, but the fact that they actually got something right on is pretty spooky if you think about it. I used to think psychics and supernatural beings were fake. Maybe I'm wrong. In at 9, Ghost Recon. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon was released in 2001, and like most games that predict the future, this game was set after its release, more specifically 2008. The game starts with a conflict between Russia and its neighboring country, Georgia. The Russians had seized power and were set on re-establishing the Soviet Empire. And sure, war games have history behind them, and the scenarios presented are bound to come true at some point because of that, but the Russia-Georgia war started in 2008, the same year the game is set. And not only that, but the game has the events take place in April of that year. The real war took place in August of 2008, only a few months after Tom Clancy predicted back in 2001. This is nuts, okay? Like, this war had 7 years to happen before the game's predicted date, and it had plenty of years after. Hell, it could have just not happened, but the game's premise and dates were straight up exactly what happened with a few months difference. Do you know how freaking terrifying that is? Maybe we should listen to Tom Clancy. That's all I'm gonna say. And at 8, Earth Defense Force 2025. This isn't necessarily a prediction that has come true or even had the chance yet, but Earth Defense Force 2025 is a multiplayer PS3 game. The game was decently received, however the events of the game have a race of aliens known as the Ravagers, who in-universe first attacked in 2017. That didn't happen though, you may be thinking, but how can you be sure? There are plenty of ways the government can hide things from us. Plus, what have we got to lose for speculating? Our lives? Well, an organization called the Earth Defense Force, EDF for short, was created to defend Earth against these aliens. However, they return in 2025 to attack again. With the way 2020 is going, I'm sure that we'll be attacked by aliens in 5 years. Hell, aliens were literally confirmed this year! Weren't they? Right? But the public just brushed it off because there was so much other crap going on, which is probably why the government said it at that point in the first place. Anyway, in 2025, the Ravagers come back with a vengeance, bringing alien spiders that make gigantic webs and gigantic wasps. I'm sorry, murder hornets, anyone? Giant wasps? Much? Or those could have just been what they based their design on when they read up on the history of this planet to prepare for their next attack. And at 7, Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't really need to give an introduction to the FNAF series on this channel, do I? It's a game where a Chuck E. Cheese-like restaurant gets closed down thanks to the suit smelling rank, and an event known as the Missing Children's Incident taking place that saw 5 children go missing while at the pizzeria. And what do we see happen this year? Chuck E. Cheese closing down. Now, you may have seen an article circulating saying 5 children went missing, but that article just isn't true. It was just a FNAF fan making a meme or a joke at the expense of a dying pizza joint. But nevertheless, it still happened. Well, them closing, not the 5 missing children. There could have been missing children that we just don't know about, especially after they redesigned Chucky. Like, what the hell is this new design? Hashtag bring back the old Chucky. But also just the restaurant, because that place was the only reason I was gonna have kids in this cruel and unforgiving world. And at 6, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is a game released in 2014 that follows the adventures of Aiden Pierce, a vigilante hacker who uses his phone to do things like change streetlights, activate barriers, and hack people's computers to get information or just steal some green. The Jester is an unidentified computer vigilante known as a hacktivist who has claimed to be responsible for attacks on WikiLeaks and 4chan. At first, he was last seen in 2013, the year before the game's release, until October 21st, 2016, where the Jester took responsibility for defacing the official website of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Funny thing is, Watch Dogs 2 released nearly a month later on November 15th, 2016 for consoles and November 29th, 2016 for PC. Watch Dogs both predicted the return of the Jester with their first game and even predicted with a fair amount of accuracy when he would return with the release of their second game. That's nuts. Halfway through at number 5, Illuminati, A New World Order. Illuminati, A New World Order is a card game released in 1994 by Steve Jackson Games. The game is set for players 12 and up and can be played with 2 to 6 players. However, this card game has some mad predictions that are just insane for the time it was released. Basically, there's a bunch of Illuminati groups fighting to be the New World Order. In this game, there are various cards you can play to try to achieve this, including but not limited to the Traitor Nuke, which contains a picture of the Twin Towers being destroyed by a bomb, and there's a Pentagon card which contains the image of the Pentagon blowing up as well. There's also a card depicting police brutality that is fairly relevant with recent and ongoing events, including protests and various court hearings that I can't get into specifically for fear of being demonetized. Honestly, at this point, I've probably said too much and I should move on. If you're curious about any other predictions, I suggest you look it up. This game came out in 1994 and predicted the next 2 decades, so it's worth a read. And at 4, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. We all know the line from the 2016 US presidential election, "Make America Great Again." Well, those words were actually uttered in the 2013 game Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. In this game, you play as Raiden, who, near the end of the game's storyline, ends up coming up against Senator Stephen Armstrong, where after a bit of a lengthy monologue, he ends up saying they'll make America great again, echoing the soon-to-be presidential slogan of one Sir Donald Trump. It's funny because Stephen Armstrong is also a politician, since he's the senator after all. Trump's campaign slogan is literally the line of a supervillain, and if that doesn't say a whole lot, I don't know what will. The prediction is scary because it's literally a villain saying the exact words that the now president says. That is true horror. I feel genuine fear. And at 3, Command & Conquer: Red Alert 2. Command & Conquer: Red Alert 2 is a real-time strategy game released on October 25th, 2000. The game is a sequel to Red Alert and picks up at the conclusion of the first game's campaign. However, this cover art is something to behold. While not directly showing it, the cover of the game has the Twin Towers present, with a plane flying toward them. This is very close to what happened on 9/11. The comments on a Reddit post from 9 years ago also say that in Soviet Mission 3 you were able to destroy the towers, which is crazy. Someone even said that they were playing this mission the day before the real attack. The cover art is slightly deceiving given that you can see troops parachuting out of the back of the airplane, indicated that it isn't intended on hitting the towers, but it's still some spooky imagery nonetheless when considering the events that took place less than 11 months after. Penultimately, in at number 2, Fallout 3. The number station is a long debated potential feature of the Fallout 3 game. According to some, it's a creepypasta, a game myth, but according to others, they have heard the faint predictions made by the number station. These predictions include things like the Queen dying, to the scariest of all predictions, Britney Spears winning an Academy Award in 2023. While these predictions may have been a lie since this is probably just a creepypasta, it's still crazy that a whole load of us believed it. It's not at number 1 because, well, it's probably fake, but imagine if it was real though. Imagine a game predicting so many things in the future that nobody was talking about. Oh, well, actually. Finally, in at number 1, Spider-Man PS4. Spider-Man PS4 released on my birthday in 2018 and had some pretty crazy things happen in the second half of the story. Spoiler alert, by the way, but it's been 2 years and the sequel has been announced, so I don't really need to say that. After a massive prison break, Mayor Osborn, yes, Norman Osborn, calls in a group of private law enforcement known as Sable. These officers end up abusing their power by beating people, incarcerating them with no reason, pulling them off the street to be taken in, and just all around being being a dick. There is also a bioweapon in the game known as Devil's Breath, which is basically what the whole game revolves around. You hear the name at the start of the game and then later learn that it's an airborne contagion that attacks your lungs and loves to cause coughing. Quote from the fandom page: "In its state during the events of Marvel's Spider-Man, Devil's Breath is more of a weaponized disease than a cure. The treatment's delivery mechanism incorrectly attacks the immune system, triggering rapid immunodeficiency and eventually death if left untreated. Additionally, the vile nature of Devil's Breath makes it highly contagious, giving it the potential to cause a global pandemic. Devil's Breath appears to enter the body through the respiratory system." End quote. If that isn't an allegory for COVID-19, I don't know what is. And this game came out in 2018, more than a year before the first case of COVID-19, hence the 19 at the end of the name. All of this happened within the span of a game. Now, what happened in 2020? A global pandemic caused by a highly contagious disease or virus that attacks the lungs and immune system, and global protests against police brutality, systematic racism, and abuse of power at the hands of officers, and not to mention a political leader who calls in a private police force. At least Osborn didn't use his to take a walk. There we have it, friends, the top 10 scary times games predicted the future. What games do you know that predicted the future, and do you think any games you're playing right now could predict 2021? Let me know down below, and on your way down, be sure you hit like and subscribe for daily gaming content, and ring that bell to join the clan and level up. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.